Welcome back to another reaction for Nippon Sangoku episode 4. Fictional work, yada yada. Underage smoking is totally lit and awesome.
ミスミアオテルは農政改定案を献上し登竜門を成し遂げた。2年後、隣国の政府では反政府運動が活発。
Right, anti-government unrest intensifies, dictator.
それに対し内務卿平電機は独断で無条件降伏の勧告状を送っていた。征夷と大和両国の緊張感は日に日に高まりつつあった。さらにその翌年、三角青輝はその功績を評価され辺境将軍隊幹事に着任することとなる。三角青輝18の弱いであった。
Okay. So 3 years have gone by. I hope so much that maybe we could go and work with these guys. At least with the lady. I don't care much about guys. Yamato, year 60, early spring. Minus 6 degrees Celsius. At 14 o'clock. Okay, that is insanely cold.
ほんまにすまんかった。もう絶対せえへん。約束する。やからどうか資材だけは勘弁してくれ。三角幹事。
What did you do?
町山守護補佐。
Enforcing penalties under military law.
町山守護補佐。心中をお察しします。
What did you do?
読み上げよう。
は。町山成久は今月7日、紙幣5名を不法に要し、高槻県の民家4戸から略奪を行った。その際、3名の民を殺害、1名へ性的暴行を加えた。悪のごとき行為は辺境将軍隊及び国家の平穏と秩序を瓦解する断じて許されない行為である。よって軍法にのっとり町山成久を即刻公主刑に処する。ちゃうねんって。あ、いや、ちゃうことはないけど、あれや、私にも事情があんねん。
Unless your reasons are insanely valid, you have a problem. Because you are doing the exact same thing that led to his wife dying, and he's not going to let that slide. It also is... It is going to strengthen the view of the military in the eyes of normal people if you punish these guys. Because if you don't, then the army is going to be seen as more and more bad. I mean, a similar problem is with stuff like police in America. There are a lot of good police officers that do their jobs at the high stress situation, they do what they can. But every now and then there's a bad officer and he makes everyone look bad. And it's even worse because they don't get punished because of the framework they got established. And if they don't get punished, that makes most officers questionable then. It's always, whenever you hear new news about some police stop turning bad, someone got killed, it's always like, okay, was it reasonable, was it not? Sometimes the suspect had a weapon, drew the weapon on the officer, totally justified for the officer to then use lethal force. And sometimes the suspect just is running away and gets gunned down and you're like, okay, people like that need to be punished. That is going to strengthen the view of the institution in the eyes of normal civilians a lot.
先月、義理の息子が病死して、娘の生活が苦しくなってもうてな。
Okay.
急のことで、私も娘に仕送りする余裕はないし。
民を殺すつもりもなかった。
So your idea was, who died again? Son-in-law died from illness, and your daughter was unable to make ends meet. And you were like, okay, I need to secure money for my daughter by stealing it from other people. That doesn't make sense, especially because you had to hire 5 people that cost money to make more money in return. I mean, your daughter could have worked, maybe, I guess, or she could have moved in with you, and you would have, I mean, both of you would have to work a little bit, not work, but not eat as much or whatever to make ends meet, but you could have done that. I feel like this is a very flimsy excuse.
性的暴行も血を途切って生存本能が目覚めた。
You were the one, okay. Yeah, I mean, hey. I guess ask the gods for forgiveness because it's against the rules, so.
中華も自分でも殺としてあそこが元気になるなんて。
事情より結果を重んじ公正な処罰を下すのが幹事の責務です。
わかる。それは立派や。しかし君はまだ辺境将軍隊に入って3年やろ。幹事なんて釈任してまだ数日しか経ってへんやないか。1000人の幹事ならこれ式のことで公主権になど調査へんかった。こんなん絶対おかしいって。仕事に熱あげるのはええが君の今後のためや。ここは自重せえ。
I mean, you didn't show any mercy, and he just stated that he is going to put facts above everything else. The fact is, you looted other people's valuables, you killed people, and there was also some assault happening. It doesn't matter why you did it. It's against the rules or against the law or whatever, so you get punished. Simple as that.
自重いたしかねます。確かにこれまでの執行履歴を総覧すると、ここ数年いかなる大罪を犯した者も死刑その他厳罰には課されておりませんでした。
Okay. No one convicted for even the gravest crimes has been sentenced to death or given other severe punishments. Again, this is what is then going to make the whole institution look terrible in the eyes of people outside, mostly normal civilians. And they are not trustworthy anymore. They're also not really cheered for by a certain part of the population. Only the ones that are very far removed and don't have anything to do with them, because they're just not trustworthy. Can't trust the army, so punishing people would at least buy a little bit more of trust. And that means also more cooperation in case something goes wrong. I mean, like, if they see an enemy army, if they don't like your own army, they may not really tell you that they sighted an enemy. Which, I mean, it would be a gamble. But that could happen.
しかし辺境将軍隊における軍法はそもそも大祖大和帝富士一世が定めた厳格なもの。それがなぜこうも感化されることになったのか、わしは徹底的に調査しました。すると一つの事実が明らかになりました。賄賂の横行。
Interesting. That is why nothing ever happened. Because this guy... I see.
であります。前任の幹事の怠慢さゆえ軍法の権威の失墜を招いたのであります。よってわしは 新幹事としてここに献示いたします。厳格なる軍法の権威を。
I mean, that is a really good shot. It's insane how well this looks.
の権威を。
三角幹事、いや青テルッチ青テルッチ、私ら何度も二人で飯行ったやないか。兵法について論じ合ったり、博多ラーメンの美味しさについて語ったり、日本時代の漫画の話だって量産したやん。私は君のことを本当の息子のように思ってたんや。なんでそんな私を取材なんかにすんねん。青テルッチには感情はないんか。
町山守護補佐。いえ、成さん。ほんまにお世話になりました。
I mean, there's no, oh, I'm so sad. He doesn't deserve it. He deserved to be dead. And it seems like that there are a lot of people that need to be punished, because this seems to be a rampant issue that did not get dealt with because of bribery and nepotism, I guess. I mean, he did try at the end, so I feel like we are going to clean house. Again, this is going to strengthen support of the population for the army. And that is, in my opinion, a good thing. I mean, what is the other side, for argument's sake? You let this happen, they enrich themselves and do whatever, you get a little cut of that money, and that's it. Your army is not getting stronger, you don't get better support in case of emergency. There's no real upside letting them run loose. I mean, not in the grand scale, not for the country. It's if you let them run loose, the only people that benefit are themselves, and you get, or everyone that is in a higher position gets a little cut. So I feel like cleaning house, better option, especially for someone who is more strategically minded. It makes sense that he's going this route.
青テルはその後も軍法を犯す者が誰であろうと臆することなく厳罰に処した。
Additionally, there's also a lot of higher up military personnel that you punish. Now, normally it's like always, you can't do that, yada yada yada. Ooh. However, it is more or less rot that you need to get rid of. It's a fungus that is slowly eroding the military. These people have no morals. These people have no allegiances. As soon as they get a better offer of an enemy, as example, they're going to jump ship and they will betray you at every opportunity. So it's better to get rid of them than have them in your ranks, even if it is going to weaken you temporarily. In the long run, all of these people are a liability.
関心には至極疎まれたが、彼の業績を聞いた辺境将軍龍門光秀は
事の処理はこのようにすべきや
と青テルを大いに評価した。
愛も変わらず青いな。青すぎるで君は。三角君の業績はブコレーフにまで轟いてんで、中には君を称賛する族員もおるが、名を上げて出世しようとするごっつ欲深いやつやと噂する者もおる。さらには君が族員を買収し称賛するよう指示しとるっていう者も出てきよった。
I mean, if that is the case, let them. Does it really matter? I feel like it doesn't. So, also interesting that these two got somewhat close. They're like rivals, but also not really best buddies, but they are definitely acknowledging each other, it feels like.
日本時代末期でいう
Or at least it looks like they want to portray this here.
桜ってやつですか。
真面目に私の忠告を聞けや。私らはもう3年の仲や。君が名声を渇望してへんことくらい分かっとる。やけど、多くの族員は違う。責務を全うするんは立派や。けど、何でもかんでも厳罰に処せばええってもんやないで。
ほんなら軍法を軽視し国の破滅への一端を担えと。
アホか。私はただ過去の功績に免じて減刑してもよかったんちゃうんかって言うてるだけや。
常ちゃんさん、それは族員側の意見に過ぎません。民側からすれば略奪に遭い身内も殺されたのに、なんであの族員は適切な刑を受けておらんのかと大に不信の念を抱くでしょう。そんな民が10人100人と集えば大規模な反乱だって起こり得ます。その時常ちゃんさんは民と戦う覚悟はありますか？無論、もしもわしが軍法を閉局したのならばわしは処罰を受けるべきでしょう。じゃけど事実無根の批判をされてもそれはわしには関係ない。幹事がおもねり辺境将軍隊が腐ればこの国も終わりでしょう。であればわしが人から疎まれようと蔑まれようと憎まれようと勇気を持って幹事の責務を全うせないかんとわしはそう思うのです。
勇気。その言葉、
excuse me?
この世で君が最も似合う人なんやないか。
わしが知る限りではわしよりももっともっと似合う人がおりますよ。
Yeah, not you, not you. Okay. I mean, I see the point of being lenient for some people, depending on the charge. Because he probably was pretty strict, and even looting would not be allowed. But if someone was doing a really good job outside and they've broken a couple rules, you may potentially let them off the hook a little bit to keep them. But on the other hand, are they really going to be that useful afterward? Are they going to deliver? Is even the achievement they have real? If they are going against the law here, what is to say they are not doing the same for the achievement? Someone else has achieved something and they kill the guy and claim the achievement for themselves, kind of deal. So I do like that he's sticking to his gun though.
それはそうと、君は今後の人生について考えたりしてんのか？
どうしてです？
誠意が降伏すれば残るは武王のみや。順当にいけば10年以内には大和が日本を統一する。もちろん私の才能のおかげでな。
You didn't do
そう
anything.
なればうちの隊は解体や。その時君はどうするんや？やはり君の専門である農業に従事するんか？
順当にいけばわしは今この時農業に従事していたでしょう。
Oh, is that true?
歴史は
I like that shot. That shot is cool. I mean, yeah, he was planning on working in agriculture. Also, if Say surrenders, I feel like Boo is going to fall really quick. Because if you have like 2/3 of Japan under your rule, the rest is going to be very easy. I feel like as soon as you take Say and integrate it, that more and more parts of the last nation is going to convert. They're just going to surrender to you until nothing is left of Boo or whatever. Now we know that Sei is not going to surrender. Sei is going to rise up. And they now have a dictator somehow thingy. Very beautiful dictator, for that matter. So we are definitely not at the end right now.
歴史はどれも例外ばかり
By the way, I find it interesting that we still have the custom of drinking milk after a hot bath.
でできています。かつて日本時代に核戦争が起き、地球全土が寒冷化するなんて、一体どれほどの人が予測できたでしょう。令和末期の暴力大革命にしてもそうです。三国定律にしてもそう。当時を生きたどれほどの人が今のこの世を予測できたでしょうか。人が歩む道とは核も水のごときものです。妻との誓い、この誓いは氷のように固形化し、先の人生は常に液体のように。いや、未来はわからないという点では液体よりも気体の方が適切か。
どっちでもええわ。水か。実に君らしいな。やけど私からすれば人生は石集めのごときもんや。そうでしょ、ママ。
Okay. So I do wonder how much they know about his wife, about the story. Would assume he is unwilling to divulge too much to other people, at least not the specifics, because it would just be another vector of attack against him. So better not to mention too much. On the other hand, the other guy has something about his mom. So that is going to be interesting. Is that why he wanted to be here? Is that how he got his whatever he is? I don't know. Is it narcissism? Is it egocentrism? Like narcissism, maybe more. He's definitely very confident. He's very confident, and he is more or less, at least at the moment, claiming most of the victories, mostly because of himself, which we have not seen anything of him right now. Maybe there were some skirmishes where he was successful, but at the moment we don't know much. Maybe it's his plan. His plan is to just run over enemies, because it feels like there was no big conflict for the last 3 years, right? So all three nations are more or less chilling. Okay, minus 17 degrees Celsius. That is so cold. Holy. Okay.
どうぞ。
ではこれよりクーデターを決行する。
I mean, she just looks good. Can't we be on her side? Olga's Blade and Family Crest. So her name is Olga, I guess, because tiger. Is it a tiger? It's a lion, right? It looks like it is a lion. Lion or tiger, one of the two. Probably tiger. She has that on her cheek. Maybe on her other cheek as well. I would have to check.
征夷、三国の北部を領土とする共和制国家である。この日、首都西楼にて日本全土を震撼させる事件が発生した。大和の無条件降伏勧告を承諾する意向を固めた征夷政府。 それに対し結成された降伏反対派がクーデターを断行したのである。
こんな夜分遅く武庫に何用だ。
今さっき降伏反対派が武装蜂起したって情報が入ったんす。武器必要なんで鍵開けてもらえないっす。
降伏反対派が武装蜂起。命令書は
ないっす、緊急なんで。
では直ちに所属部隊と隊長名を
タンタンタンタンタンタン。
Okay, don't waste ammo. We need that. But interesting that we have three guys in front of the armory full of weapons. We have a whole enemy group on the other hand, and you only need one weapon to get access to a bunch of new weapons.
うちはその降伏反対派長尾隊隊長長尾ムートンス。以後
Why do you need a key now? You could just break it open. And if that is a key lock, it's not secure. You could just lockpick
見
that.
知りおきよ。ってもう死んでるか。さっさと武器運ぶっすよ。特にあのヒゲがいる部隊は秒で頼むっす。
はっ。報告申し上げます。我が倉隊全部隊への武器調達が完了しました。
ほう。しかし長尾の野郎仕事が早くてつまんねえな。遅れた分指の間にナイフ突き刺すゲームしてやりたかったのによ。
指の間にナイフ突き刺す。
お
I'm assuming it's the one where you stab the table, right?
何お前ら興味ある
No.
試しにやってみっか。
No, thank you.
まずはクーデターを完遂させることに注力すべきかと。
確かにそりゃそうだ。
俺たち倉隊の襲撃目標は西ロ都庁邸宅。合言葉は孫意同感。俺たちに不可能はねえ。必ずや海賊を討ち取り皆でうまい酒を酌み交わそうぜ。
早くお逃げください。そう慌てるな。ここの警備は厳重だ。降伏反対派など恐れるに足りんわ。警備隊は戦わずして敵方に寝返っております。えほんじゃ海賊さんお命頂戴しますぜ。待ちゃ
Really? Really? At least they're being quick about this. I assume they would take the governor or whoever is the head of the nation, would take them prisoner more or less, and bring them in front of like a couple people, maybe a military personnel, and force him to transmit? No. To give over the commandership and the leadership to Our Lady. To like an official, under threat, transfer of power. I mean, we could also just kill them all and be like, we are the new leader. If you don't like us being the new leader, then come at us and die. I would also burn the governor's residence. I mean, it's a lot of blood already. Instead of having like a bonfire or whatever. Just to send the message.
降伏反
On the other hand, maybe building a new house could be quite an undertaking, so we just keep this one.
対派は部隊別に降伏賛成派を襲撃。犠牲者は最小限に抑えられた。そして
アザミ大統領でいらっしゃいますか。
いかにも。
Hmm. Okay.
君は
お会いするのは父の葬儀以来ですね。こんな形で再会を果たすことになるとは。
I just want to put into perspective that she is having this code open with like -17, maybe even -20 degrees Celsius. She's insane. I feel like you should also have your whole head covered. Maybe they are just built different. Could be the case.
あ、ダメだ。なんか泣きそう私。
Oga Vajama.
そうか道理で首謀者はあの輪島白虎正々総督のご息女であったか。白虎よ、君の娘は父親譲りの軍略家だ。あっぱれあっぱれだ。で私をどう殺す？斬首か火あぶりか車焚きでも何でも喜んで受けよう。
いえ。
I'm just trying to find to identify the. I'm assuming it's also a tiger or whatever on the handle. A little bit hard to identify. It's probably one of those that as soon as you see it, you can't unsee it type of things.
父の形見です。この刀で自ら腹を切り、あなたの義兄弟で国に忠義を尽くした父にあの世でお詫びください。国を売るつもりであったと。
情けは無用、斬首で結構。君たちとは方針は違えど、私もこの国や民を思った上での判断だ。私が売国奴かどうかは後世の歴史書に託すとしよう。誠意の民を頼んだぞ。
Interesting. Okay, so she said you should do it yourself, which I'm not really sure, but I believe it was seen as the honorable thing to do. To end it yourself. And he is rightfully so, just telling her, hey, we have a different approach, but I did what I thought was best for the country. And future will decide if I will be seen as a traitor or not. Which he's not wrong. Future is going to decide what actions will be seen as traitorous, what actions will be seen as not traitorous. And he did not do it himself. Which again, I believe is a whole part of it being more seen as more honorable, right? A more honorable way to die than being punished with beheading, whatever. I still assume they would have like a transfer of power, which they do not.
やや吉、彼を手厚く弔い、中殺した降伏賛成派の親族には援助を施してほしい。断られてもだ。
一切承知。
Okay. Also, one of those points, even if the guy, in this case the president, he was like in her eyes a traitor, that doesn't mean the family was traitorous. The family doesn't really have anything to do with it in most cases. In some, maybe the belief is being carried down in the family, but in most cases it is divorced from the military, the family that is. So for her to say, hey, take care of the family, it's a little bit of the humanity that she has, and also showcases that even though they both have different viewpoints. They're both normal living people, even if she is, as we got stated last time, like a dictator or supposedly going to be a dictator. She's still somewhat a normal person.
これより新政権は人事を刷新。正午、決意表明を行う。
はい、すべて計画通りに。
だが、民も突然の政変とこの寒さでは心穏やかではないだろう。政府が隠匿していた米で温かい粥を作り、民をねぎらってほしい。清老の米はもちもちで甘くてうまい。きっと民も喜んでくれるだろう。
やはりよく似ていらっしゃる。
It is also a very easy way to buy loyalty from the population. Giving them food when food is scarce.
いえ、輪島総帥、民心を得られれば大和を平定するのも難しくないでしょう。
私たちに退路はない。民と国のため突き進むのみだ。同日、総帥輪島大賀は新政権の樹立とその経緯を記載した公文書を発布。城内では粥が配給され、多くの都民が集った。悪政に苦しんだ民たちは新政権がいかなる政治を行うのか、誰もが興味津々であった。いっぱい食べてくださいね。
ありがとうございます。なして泣いて。お前の体臭が目に染みたんだろう。それはおめだろう。お前だ。
喜んでくれてよかった。本当によかった。
たくよ、マジでわけわかんねえよな。この米全部兵糧にすりゃいいのによ。お前もそう思わね
尊い。
え、何？お前総帥に惚れてんのか？
いや、テレビさん何言ってんすか。マジで俺が総帥に惚れてる。いや、何それ。つうかそもそも俺が幸福反対派についたのも別に輪島総帥が好きだからとかそういう理由じゃないですからね。
いいじゃん、マジ応援してるぜ。
くらよ、粥の件、お主は何も分かっておらんな。確かに兵糧確保も重要だが、この寒さの中、飢えに苦しむ民が食料の配給なしで総帥の話をじっと聞いてくれるだろうか。
So, okay. I'm assuming she's not playing around or she's not acting. So she does care a bit. Also, one of them seems to have impure reasons to join the army. But overall, it makes sense to give the food away. It also showcases that this coup is not only because of the betrayal, it is also because the mismanagement of the country. And under new leadership, it hopefully gets better. Now the question is, are we going to go with the same name? Are we going to change the name? Because in some cases there will be a change of the name of the country with reference to the old name, like maybe the Republic of Say or whatever they decide to do, or they keep the old name, also possible. But giving away the food, some of them not having eaten for like 2 weeks, which is insane, means that you are going to keep more people alive. And guess who is going to make the food? It's a normal citizen. Unless you have the soldiers make the food, which they would need to learn how to do that first. Most of them, at least. If you don't do that, you need the population to pick up the slack and produce more food for your soldiers. I don't know why the government has hoarded all this food. I have no idea what they planned. Maybe they just wanted it for themselves in case something goes wrong. Or maybe it was always seen as military rations. Nonetheless, it is now where it should be going, and that is the population.
民信なくば立たず政治は民の信頼なくしては成り立たない市政では軍備食料民の信頼の3つのうち孔子は民の信頼が最も重要だと説いた輪島総帥は必ず民を導く正しい為政者になるであろうやっぱ聡明なお方だ平軍師どうか総帥を侮辱した俺を罰してくれ俺ながお前も
俺もっすか
よいよい
I do wonder, do they know she's a commander? The normal people, I mean.
しかし平軍師俺は不思議なんす粥を配るとしても将兵に任せればいいはずっすでもなんで総帥は自らまさかそれすら計算して
いや昔からトラちゃん
So it is a tiger. Okay. Torashan. Ah, I see, I see, I see.
あれが輪島総帥の気質なのであろう
Which makes sense. In most cases, they don't really use lions for stuff. But in mythology, you always have like, in Eastern one, you always have like tigers. But never lions. Probably because tigers are more solitude. More like alone. While lions are most often in like a herd. Maybe there's also some other reasons, but good to know it's a tiger. She's a little kitty cat.
トラちゃん
改めまして新政権総帥輪島オーガであります。
Oh, they didn't know.
俺タメ口聞いちった
親愛なる国民の皆様、我々は本日旧政権を打倒し、この征夷に新たな政権を樹立しました。近年例外により多くの農業従事者が失業しました。結果人身売買が横行、餓死者さえ出ました。皆様の中にもその被害に遭われた方がたくさんいることでしょう。しかし私は言いたい。例外対策を怠り、ただ私腹を肥やし続けた旧政権にこそ責任があるのだと。
What were they supposed to do against the code? Global warming? Was the idea just to modernize the farming industry? I mean, we know that in episode 1 we had like not necessarily greenhouses, but we did have some areas or some proto greenhouse where we were growing crops. So I guess that is what we are going to do, or we are going to move more people down south where there's more warm to then farm there, maybe?
新政権では直ちに国家農業統一政策を施行し、農地の整備と生産から流通に至る合理化を行います。そして3年間1区あたり月100円の補助金を支弁します。
毎月100
Each district 100 yen. This is gonna be hard to understand. We had the whole tax thing going on, right? And that was like in the single digits, right? Tax for you. No, not even, right? Didn't they pay in real or something? Was it that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, from what we can imagine, 100 yen probably quite a bit. Maybe enough to feed like 10 or maybe 100 families. Now, what this reform is going to be, we will see, but she did say over the next 3 years. Now the question... No. So the problem is timeline. Because this makes it sound like this happened while we were joining the old guy, and our main character joined the whole group there 3 years ago, because that would then line up. However, they did talk about the revolution quite recently, and they were together, which means it seems like we are already 3 years in our work. He got promoted. He is cleaning house, and now they took over, and now they enact a plan that will take 3 years to bear fruit. I have no idea how the plan is for the next 3 years, better said. But I'm assuming this is going to take at least a year to really get going, and up to 3 years to get to full potential, which means that in this time they are they are somewhat weakened, right? So they are perceptible, is that right, to enemy attacks. So I don't know how she's how she's going to make it so they are not going to get clapped while they are in a weakened position. New government, new people, new reform. We need to organize everything. We need to do the whole agriculture reform. There's a lot of stuff that is going on right now, a lot of chaos. People are going to abandon, people are going to desert, new people are coming in. A lot of stuff going on. While the surrender theoretically is on the table. Now, are we going to use that time to not answer? And later on, we just decline, and that time is what we use to fix the problems that we now are going to have.
そんだけありゃ人でも集まんで。
苦しい生活が永遠に続くと思ってはなりません。すべては私たち国民一人一人の強い意志と行動によって変えることができるのです。そして思い出してください。私たちの真の敵が誰であるかを。旧征夷政府でしょうか、いいな東国の武王でしょうか、いいな西国の大和はどうでしょう。そもそも征夷の歴史は大和の北陸侵攻に抵抗し始まりました。しかし大和はその反省をするどころか売国土と共謀し、再び我が国の存立さえ脅かそうとしたではありませんか。大和は建国以来かつての日本国の後継を自称し、日本列島を我が物にしようと目論んでいます。つまり大和の国家としての正当性を許せば、いずれまた征夷の地が汚されることになるのです。ならば後世のため、今こそ大和討伐を行い、我らが宿願を果たそうではありませんか。輪島王賀は行政改革を推進した。農産漁村の人口を増やし、生産力を向上。財政対策では貨幣を刷新、軍事面では屯田兵制度を拡張、街道や水路の開発修繕を行った。20万人に上る失業者をわずか1ヶ月で半数以下にまで激減させ、破竹の勢いで国民の支持を高める。
Okay. Now, understandable, because Yamato was the one that was more or less demanding their surrender. So that is who they are going to target. It also makes sense. It is a typical political maneuver to focus all the hatred, all the negative energy towards an outward facing enemy, in this case Yamato. So it's not the fault of the government, of Sei's government, that you have a bad time. It's because of Yamato. Just a typical political way to frame stuff. However, a lot of reforms going on. She is overhauling most of the nation. She's also increasing the farmer soldier system that Yamato implemented. I don't know if they stole that or if the system that Yamato has is just a lot bigger and the other nations are not doing it as much. Maybe. But overall, I feel like if she would meet our guy, they would probably see eye to eye. They probably would see that, hey, we are both on a similar strategic level. They have the same ideas. And what I find crazy is that every nation essentially just wants to reunite Japan. They just want Japan back. Now I do wonder, let's say takes over all of Japan. Are they going to change their name to Japan or are they going to keep Sei? The same with Yamato, same with Buo. I also wonder because the opening and the framing makes it seem like Yamato against Sei. What is Buo going to do the whole time? Is the idea that these two nations are going to fight and then we are going to have a big breakthrough maybe and then the third nation is going to attack at some point while they are just on the sidelines waiting for each nation to deplete their troops? I wonder where the direction is going, but we at least have someone who knows what they are doing, reforms the whole nation, and is going to be closer to Yamato seemingly in their economic ability. The question just is, are they able to get there before Yamato attacks? Because again, they should be somewhat weakened. But maybe Yamato is waiting for an answer? Also, this whole thing would not have happened if Yamato just did not send a request for surrender. They did say if they don't do anything, Sei is going to get into some revolts. It's probably going to go into some national unrest and it could maybe implode if they just stand by and do nothing. They could also help and build positive relationships, which I feel like would have been the best idea, and together they could defeat Buo, yada yada yada. But all of this more or less happened because of Yamato, and in turn because of the fat pig, which is crazy.
私たち新政権は金や土地、権力のために進むのではない。あなたたちのために進むことを。世紀51年春、ここに総帥輪島大賀の独裁体制が確立されたのである。征夷清々まであと1ヶ月。
1 month before their expansion. So we have blue, we have yellow. I'm assuming we go get red or green next. And this is going to be interesting. Are we going to get, because the first couple episodes we had the establishment of Yamato, our main character, and their whole nation. That every nation seems to have problems. This time we have Sei and their introduction of like the upper management and our main character there theoretically. The question is, are we going to get the same for Buo as well? I would love that, to see maybe Buo have something similar. Maybe they are, because Yamato seems to be somewhat meritocracy-wise, probably more like the old Japan, while Sei is a dictatorship now, which seems to be very socialist-like. I feel like Buo would be probably something more military military-like. That is the might makes right kind of government, maybe. But I would definitely like getting them introduced, because if we get them introduced with another character that we see as their main character, it makes the show look like there's no main character. You have like important character for each nation that all are involved in the story.
征夷生成まであと1ヶ月。
Okay, ending. We have, oh wait, no, is this Amazon, right? This not, it's the same. Damn it. Again, I really hope we get Buo introduced next. Again, this would make it more seem like 3 nations, each with their own characters, each potentially going to win, instead of having like a main character that you always try to root for. Here we at least have already 2. We are like, okay, our guy wants revenge. He's, you know, doing his good job. She is trying to do the best for its people or her people. There's no good, there's no bad guy at the moment. And if we get Buo, then we have like a third character essentially established, which means we don't really know what is going to happen, who's going to win, who we need to root for. And then conflicts are not necessarily only between Yamato and Sei, but Buo can always go and influence any of the fights or outcomes of the fights that we are going to probably see. I really hope we get them introduced next.